We failed. There's no shame to fail when you're trying to do something honest. And we failed because we didn't understand what the market wanted.
Hey Engagers, as you know, this is Professor Game, where we interview successful practitioners of games, gamification, and game thinking to help us multiply retention and engagement. And I'm Rob, I'm a consultant, I'm a coach, and I'm the founder of Professor Game, where we do many things. Among them, I teach gamification, game-based learning, game-based solutions at many places around the world, including many universities. And if you are struggling with retention and or loyalty, feel free to look into our free resources in the description. And today we have Aldi with us. So Aldi, we do need to know before we introduce you, are you prepared to engage?
I am always prepared to engage. I mean, that's the hope of every gamification industry. Like if you don't engage, then you are in the wrong business.
Absolutely. Aldi Agaj, is that a good way to pronounce it?
It's okay.
Agaj.
Don't worry about it. Everybody misspell it. It's fine.
He's the Chief Executive Officer of AAK Telescience and the CEO of Alter Learning Educational Platform since 2020. He's an entrepreneurial Chief Executive Officer who's experienced in founding companies in domestic and international marketplaces. He's a facilitator and builder of world-class technology, and he provides technical and visionary leadership for technology company offering a cloud-based platform or a service as a software for scientific research. As you can see, he has plenty of experience, lots of exciting stuff going on. Aldi, is there anything that we're missing from that intro?
Look, I believe that the titles are less important than actually the work we do on a daily basis. And many people focus a lot on writing everything they can on LinkedIn. By the way, that was not done by me, by my marketing team. And I think you just can say that he's a guy who wears multiple hats. I wasn't happy with that, but I'm here. So no, you're
absolutely. Aldi, if we were to follow you around for a day or a week, whatever you want to go for, what would that look like? What does it feel like to be on your shoes nowadays?
Well, it's beautiful and at the same time challenging. We started 2 companies when the COVID hit, July 16, 2020. And as many people understand, it's not easy. A lot of people were closing down. There was no possibility to open an office, to have people, to create a relationship. So the first thing that we had to challenge is, okay, we are going to start new, fresh, a company with everybody being remote anywhere in the world. Today we have, in the past 4.5 years, so in July 16 is going to be 5 years, we have had 862 people collaborating in these 2 companies in 18 countries, in 56 projects all around the world. So organization and management, it's quite challenging sometimes, because you are talking to somebody in India, in Pakistan, in Italy, in France, in Germany, in Belgium, everywhere in the world. You have to coordinate that. So you don't have a time. I wake up sometime at 3 a.m. in the morning, I go to sleep, and I wake up again at 6 a.m. in the morning, like this morning happened. And then I go to sleep when I get to siesta, and in between, if I have a break. And then you wake up again, and you have to talk to your team. And maybe because I like to be hands-on. There's different type of styles of SEO, but everyone
Absolutely. Love it. So Aldi, can you tell us a story, especially in this game-based learning space that you are in with Alter Learning, where things just did not go your way? So or a first attempt at learning or a fail moment. It doesn't have to be a definitive because, failure isn't fatal. It's not final. But we want to be there with you. We want to live that story and perhaps take a few lessons out of that story.
The first game company that I started was called Green Science Games. Actually, it was one game. And we wanted to create educational video games and to teach children about green industry. We wanted to teach children learning to respect the earth that they live. Because think this way, we're teaching the new generation something. And you have to start by teaching them that earth is one, and you have to teach them how to protect it, how to be respectful to all creatures and all peoples on earth, and most importantly, earth itself. But it was a very small company, according to our investors and to people who were interested. It had a very narrow scope. And they thought that because the game was only one, it was called Green Science Games, it wouldn't have gone well because investors would have not invested in one game. So we were like the tiny studio, we just started. And we were trying to figure things out as well, like many other startups do. And we learned very fast that although the idea behind was very good, and I truly believe in that. In fact, it's part of the Alter Learning now. We didn't throw it out. As a company, Green Science Games did not succeed because the scope of it was very narrow. So that was one thing that I'm honest to say, like, that we didn't succeed. We failed. There's no shame to fail when you try to do something honest. And we failed because we didn't understand what the market wanted. The market wanted that you do a beautiful game. It's called Green Science Games. And then they ask you, and then what? You know? So is this one single game going to be sufficient to educate the children all over the world? Is it going to be able to compete with all the offers that you have around the world of education content? And of course, we knew in the startup industry, we didn't know that. So we failed on that. It's very honest. And that was an aspect that we talked to an investor at the time. And then this, I'm not going to mention her because she's still an investor and she works some major companies. And she advised me in that meeting to say, like, you should enlarge the scope. Because if you want to attract investor like me to give you money to finance your education content platform, you have to also see the point of view of how am I going to make my money back?
Yeah.
And that was something that, as idealistic I can be as a CEO, when you start, you call the company Green Science Games, you kind of figure it out why we did it, right? There was the idea behind it. And by the way, we are based in Davis, California. It's famous for agriculture research. So that was a shock for me. So like, oh, damn it, I have never considered the point of view of investors. I only considered what good we're doing for the world, but we need money to make it happen. So that was one failure that I have no problem.
Is there something that, seeing it nowadays, you would do entirely different? Like you would approach it in a different way. You would start a different way. Like what would you change if you had a similar opportunity coming up and you were going to develop one of these games or something?
There is a big saying in Italian. I don't know if you know that. Con il sé in mano si fa il mondo. It means that you do not build the world with what if, what then. So sometimes you are faced with choices in that moment, and even the mistake that you make in that moment are very useful, actually. So Would you change anything? No, because if I change that, I wouldn't have learned things that I learned. You can go backwards, that is the same. Or if I knew that, well, of course, if you knew that, you would have done another thing, but then the world would be completely different. You are not going to be facing the issues that you have facing that help you grow. So I wouldn't change anything. I actually think that it's very important for a startup to start with a very big passion about what they're creating.
Fantastic.
It's the truth.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. And from your experience, plenty of time you've been doing this, especially, again, in the game-based solutions space, is there some success you'd like to talk of? One of those games you created, perhaps, how it went, how you managed to make it a success, what went well, I don't know, anything you want to talk about.
Imagine this way. We have to agree on what would define success. Okay? Because that's a very tricky question. What do you define as a success? What I define as a success is being able to involve hundreds and hundreds of scientists, doctors, child development specialists, teachers to work on a concept. I want to create something like Alter Learning because they believe that the future of our children is important. That for me is success. I'm not a billionaire, so I don't know how Jeff Bezos feels or Mark Zuckerberg feels, or I'm not, so I don't know how they feel. But I believe that also them, when they started Amazon, when they started Facebook, when they started Tesla, when they started any other company in the world, they had a huge passion about it. And success is when other people share your passion for something and they create something useful. In our case, it's an educational gaming platform. So that is my success, that we managed to convince hundreds and hundreds of people to create now 40 games and going in a platform available for every public school in the world for free. I mean, I call that success. I call success
Fantastic.
any person who comes to my company and says like, hey, I want to be an affiliate on your company because I want to share the information about your games and how they're built and what they're built for. Is that success a $1 billion-trillion industry? I don't know. I don't know if it's never going to be. I mean, like, there is no big money in education, as we all know. And we are offering for free to public schools. So our goal is not exactly to make $100 billion a month. Our goal was, we want the best that the scientific research can offer to children everywhere in the world. And if they are in the public school, they have it for free.
Sounds great. And Aldi, you mentioned that you have already around 40 games and counting, as you mentioned. So when you come up with creating a new game, right? What is the process? How do you go about it? Like you mentioned, scientists are involved. I'm guessing game designers are involved. How does it go? How do you create that engagement that you've been mentioning?
Remember when I showed you AK Tale Science? And remember when I was sharing
in the pre-interview
database?
chat, we had some screen views as well.
Yeah. Remember when I was sharing the screen, I was showing you the universities and the patents and projects that they create. Now that information is public information, but that information is gold actually, because that information shows you the latest in technology that every researcher in the world has done. Imagine people who have dedicated 20 plus years of their life to study an argument and study it very well. And they know everything about that argument. They're doing a PhD, a postdoc. They do publications. Those publications are the latest in technology. So we take those and we write a GDD, game design document. The GDD is passed then to my team of concept art, 2D art, Kristen Robertson. She and with her team define the art style and so on. And now you have to also keep in mind that we have a K-12 type of priority right now. So K-12 means children age of 5 to 18. Now, I call it children. Some of them are going to be offended because I call them children. But the point is, when you are a 5-year-old and when you are an 18-year-old, there's a lot in between.
A lot.
But the learning capacity that they have, it's not so different. You'll be surprised. So you start creating educational games that can be understood from a child of 5 years old, and you start increasing the difficulty and the details on that game step by step until it's now suitable for a child or a young adult that is 18 years old, that thinks it knows everything about the world, and very soon is going to learn that he does or she does. Okay, so this is the point. We create education games that can guide them through the process of learning in school.
So it's kind of the same game. They would potentially be playing, quote unquote, the same game when they're in first grade, and then again they could be playing the same game in 7th grade.
No. They have the first game in first grade that has topics that have been decided with teachers. There are topics that follow what is called the common core from schools that are gamified. Then second level is maybe the same game, but is second level now and is adapted for children in 2nd grade, and so on. And then maybe you have other games because they have finished now. They're not important for them. Different things, for example, for high school, where you have human anatomy, genetics, and so on for biology integration. So you can start with very simple games, which are almost casual games. You can make them on 2D and 3D, but imagine that way. You need to start getting the attention of the child, and you have to provide them with something they actually understand and they can play. And what they don't understand is that they are learning while they're playing. And then you start increasing the difficulty of the game or the levels of the game, or the game itself, it changes to be adapted to the learning capacity and the knowledge of each grade.
Gotcha. Very interesting model. I like it. And talking about those recommendations, because that's the way that sort of the model that you have, so you can reach pretty much K through 12. Is there a best practice when you're creating these games? Is there something that you say, well, we always do this thing because it makes our projects a little or a lot better, or it ensures certain things that we want to make sure?
We have of course, we have a best practice policy in place in Alta Learning. But what is the main thing that I'm proud of, that I insisted to create, is that we never create a game without a scientist and expert integrated in that part. Which means you can have a beautiful zombie apocalypse game done with amazing graphics, You're shooting always the AK-47. It's always a zombie working and so on. But it cannot gamify scientific research because the engineer who did it doesn't know nothing about it. The second aspect that we are very proud of is the fact that we always involve teachers and child development specialists in the levels of the game and who they're adapting, because nobody knows better than a teacher what they're going to teach in classroom. So you make a game based on the knowledge of an engineer. That game can be amazing in graphics, amazing in gamification and so on. But guess what? What does it teach? Nothing. And you take a scientist and you take a teacher who are now screaming at each other sometimes because the scientist wants to teach things in a certain way. And the teacher keeps saying like, no, he's a 5-year-old. He doesn't understand that. And then you put an engineer in the middle. It's like, okay, how about I make this gamification this way, and the GDD is being written while we go. That there's not one person who decides in my company ever on a game. It's really always a group effort, because if those groups don't work together, they can't. They really can't. I can show you right now a group of 16 people talking about one game.
Makes sense. It's a multidisciplinary approach. I actually, one of the things I teach is supply chain management and operations. And one of the things when people are creating new products and sort of the traditional approach is you have what they call over the wall. So, the design team creates something and then they sort of throw the design over the wall to the implementation team and then the manufacturer. That's the traditional thing. The problem is you don't realize many of the issues that will arise, and then you have to sort of throw it back over the wall, but they're not really communicating. It's like, oh, this doesn't work, so kind of fix it.
Let me show you something.
Please go ahead. Remember, engagers. Some of you are.
I swear, I'm not going to take too many.
I know. No, I'm just saying that engagers, if you're listening in and there's something that you don't understand, you want to view, you can definitely check this out as well on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Look at here. This is an interesting something that we have here. You are a game guy, so you know what they're talking about. How many people there are. Look at the reader plan. Look what they're working on.
Plenty of people. I think from what I can see, it's like 14 people, if I'm not mistaken, 17 on that one. Well, Firefly is also on the call. But yeah, it seems like at least 14 people are on that call discussing.
This is the GDD. This is the plan for collaborative environment meeting. This is where they're defining the reader plan and so on. So I want to show you also how the tasks are assigned. This is a Kanban board, like Agile methodology. Jira, we have our own, but just like any other one of those. And now you can see exactly what I showed you. We have everyone involved in that process. Everyone is working on the game, the gamification process, and so on. It's 16 people there.
Sounds amazing.
One game.
Absolutely. So Aldi, after listening to these questions or answering these questions, actually, is there somebody that you could think of that maybe inspired you, somebody you would like to see as a future guest on the podcast? Somebody that you say, well, I know that if this person answered these questions, I'd be really, really interested for whatever reason you can find.
Well, I would love for you guys to invite some scientists. So the people who inspired me to do that, like I said, we are based in Davis, California. UC Davis has a lot of good scientists that they are actually doing a lot of scientific research. Some of these guys collaborated with us and shared the ideas with us, like for marine biology, for different scientific areas that we apply. And these guys have a lot to say. So it would be very nice to see how they can actually contribute to the share of knowledge in the future. And this is maybe narrow to my experience and my expertise, it's a narrow focus, but I think scientists will have a lot to say on different aspects of gamification and involving all humans to understand how science is done and how the answers of science are actually correct. Are not opinable always, unfortunately. They are not always the ones that we want to hear, but they are correct. and they will share with us a vision of the world that we might want to know.
Makes sense. Love it. Having a scientist on the show, it could be interesting. We've had a few scientists in different fields like neuroscience and all that. It tends to be related to, what parts of the brain or that kind of stuff are related to video games, gaming, and these kinds of structures. But it might even be interesting to have somebody, as you were mentioning, from that field. We recently had from the environmental action plans, we had Katie. But that I'd never thought about it that way. Could be interesting. We'll take a look into that. And keeping up with recommendations, Aldi, how about a book? Which book would you recommend and why?
I don't know. It's interesting. I read a lot of Tolkien when I was young. I think that the imagination that he has, I don't know if you ever read Silmarillion.
Yeah.
He's famous for Lord of the Ring and Hobbit and so on. But
Hobbit.
There's a book
the
that I
Silmarillion
like.
is like a compilation of the unfinished work he had, and it's
exactly, yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. And I loved it because it was not finished. It allowed you actually to use your imagination and to finish it yourself. So you can go on two aspects. You can read romance. You can read, as long as you read, is good. But if I have to say one, and I have to recommend one, I always want to recommend to everybody to read something that is unfinished, and then they to choose their own path and finish it their own way. And the reason for that is because it's always right. The way you finish your world is always correct. There's no better one.
Yeah, and there's even these. I loved these, especially when I was a kid. These build your own adventure, create your own adventure books. Right? There's many different endings and many different paths, almost infinite. You could even think of. They're almost like a game in many ways. You're creating your own path, your own ways to arrive. I'm sure that they designed it such that you had just a set amount of endings. But even still, you created your own thing, and you try to do it again. Maybe you won't be able to. You try to go down that path once more, and it's not necessarily going to be possible. It's very nice.
That's the beauty.
Yeah.
Remember when you asked me what would you do different, and I told you nothing, because that's the beauty of it. You don't have to do it differently.
Yeah, of course. Aldi, what would you say is your superpower? That thing that you do at least better than most other people.
I never give up.
Very, very good one. Very useful in this world, especially.
You can't afford it.
Well, many people do give up, and that's part of the beauty of having that as a superpower, for sure. Aldi, if I were to ask you what is your favorite game, you can take that question as you wish. What would that game be, and why, of course?
My favorite game, the ones I make, that would be unfair, so I'm not going to answer that.
Exactly.
My favorite game, because that would be promoting my company, and I want you guys to go and check it out, absolutely, but it's not fair. My favorite game on playing, I play volleyball. I like group games. I played volleyball for the past 7 years, every time I can. And there's a reason why I like volleyball. It's a team sport. If you are on sand or on grass or whatever indoors, and you play a game in 5 people and you are not coordinated, your team will lose, like in any other game, team sport. And that has told me that also in my company, if I am not a team player, my company will fail. So I'm very honest. Our company survived these past 5 years thanks to our team. Not much about me, but the amazing people who actually believed in this project, and they continue to be with me and collaborate with me and find solutions to problems that they will appear every day. But if you're not a team player, you're done.
Beautiful. I love the reference. Most people tend to go to board games or video games. Very few tend to go to sports as games, because it's not the usual reference most people have in mind. But when people say I don't like games, I always say, "What, do you watch sports? Is there any sport you like?" That's where you get them. There's always something. It could be golf, typical, executive sport or whatnot. Those people who say I don't like fun or that, what do you mean you don't like fun? That doesn't make sense, right?
You remind me of golf. This is funny. So one of our guys that started in the beginning with us from Green Science Games, he invited me a couple of times to go playing golf. He thought that CEO should know how to play golf. But boy, I'm so bad at golf that I think I start cutting the trees around because I can whacking around this damn thing, and I was so bad, and I didn't find it enjoyable. I thought it was boring. One, because I was bad about it, so I understand if you're good, maybe you enjoy it. Two, because I just didn't understand. It's not my personality to understand that the golf club kind of personality. It's just not mine. I really am not built that way. So I'm like, no, not mine. So
It's not my thing. Like there's people, you're in the US, so there's people who like American football or football. There's people who like soccer or
soccer,
the way
yeah, absolutely.
there's people who like
I like
baseball.
volleyball. I'm not very my knees don't. I'm not Ronaldo, unfortunately. I wish I was, but I'm not, so I can't fake it.
I was
But
born the same
volleyball,
year as Ronaldo. I don't look, even 10% as good physically as he does.
well, yeah, that's the point. You have to choose who you are, and if I can put my 2 cents, that's why I decided to create education video games. Because
Fantastic.
games give you that capacity. You can learn the way you are.
You can be yourself.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So imagine the beauty of being in a video game. Now you can be on that's a danger zone. But I'm going to stop you 1 second there. You can be whatever you want in the game. Your persona can change. Your avatar can change. But because you have that freedom, you can learn the way you like it. Have you ever done something that you actually like? When is the last time you have done something that you really, really like, you enjoyed it?
Many times, like recently, the last few days. I have a 2.5-year-old, so I do that pretty often with stuff with her, and I play games as well. There's plenty of stuff I enjoy. Eating, also.
For me, if you want to know personal things of mine, my peace place is sailing. I love going sailing. When I take my daughter sailing in the middle of the ocean, it's pure joy for me. Pure joy. So gaming is like that for children. Children, when they play a video game, they actually have pure joy. They are having fun. And then when we created Alta Learning, we said, like, what if we can make now learning that fun?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Aldi, we've asked you most of the questions at this point. I don't know if there's anything else you want to close with. Of course, let us know where we can find out more about, all your companies, the work you guys are doing. It's your time.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to you for the time that you dedicated me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for this podcast. Thank you for actually creating a space for important, I call them important stuff like education, gaming, and so on, and scientific research, because this podcast actually can help a lot of people understand what we create and what many little companies like ours, because we're a small company, are creating around the world. And so thank you for that space. You can find Alta Learning. You just have to Google alta-learning.com. You can find about AAK. Just Google us, aakscience.com. I am available on LinkedIn. I'm forced to be available on LinkedIn. My marketing team wants me to be there. So my operations officers, they both say, like, you have to have an active relationship with LinkedIn because you have to be available on platforms. Oh, I'm the worst on social media, but I am available. You can, guys, just find me on LinkedIn. My name is Aldi Agaj. You can send me a connection request. I reached the maximum, so I'm trying to send email to people, say, hey, because LinkedIn allow you only 30,000 followers, something like that, connections.
I think when I looked you up, you could only follow, which is what I clicked on.
Yeah,
I think you cannot request connection.
If you can see it right now. You can see in LinkedIn, but you can send me a message. I swear I'm going to answer. I don't have somebody who answers for me. We're looking for people to come and help and create more beautiful games. We're open to any type of collaboration that can actually bring help to my team. And we actually now are starting an affiliate program. So if you want to know about our games, if you want to know about our technology, if you want to know about who we are as a company, just reach out to me or any member of my company. Like I said, alter-learning.com, aaktelescience.com. There are two companies. We're based in Davis. You can contact me on LinkedIn. You can follow us on social media. I don't know, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. We are almost anywhere right now. But most importantly, talk to us. Like, really, we are real people behind. It's not going to be a robot. It's not going to be an AI talking to you. It's going to be me. If you contact me on LinkedIn, I'll say hi. I'll give you a Zoom meeting contact, and then we can talk about that. And if you have good ideas that you maybe didn't find the right environment to propose your ideas, we're always open. We are always open to new ideas for our company.
Amazing. Thanks again, Aldi, for joining us today. However, Aldi and Engagers, as you know, at least for now and for today, it is time to say that it's game over. Hey, Engagers, and thank you for listening to the Professor Game podcast. And since you're interested in this world of creating motivation, engagement, loyalty using game-inspired solutions, how about you join us on our free online community at Professor Game on School? You can find the link right below in the description, but the main thing is to click there, join us. It's a platform called School. It's for free, and you'll find plenty of resources there. We'll be up to date with everything that we're doing, any opportunities that we might have for you. And of course, before you go on to your next mission, before you click continue, please remember to subscribe using your favorite podcast app and listen to the next episode of Professor Game. See you there.